Welcome to one of my favorite cities in the world, Malaga. It's the biggest city down here on the Sunshine Coast in the south of Spain, La Costa del Sol. Malaga is so beautiful. It's an old city covered with history. Empires have come through, risen and fallen, and Malaga just changes its character. And you can see all of these layers of history in the beautiful city. So let's go check it out. So here we're up at the Gibralfaro, which is like the castle. It's on the very top of the hill. And down below on the right there, you can see the Alcazaba, which is the palace. It's supposed to be super beautiful. And the castle, I've heard, is really only great for these incredible views. I haven't had a chance to go into the palace on my trips to Malaga, but I super look forward to it. It's supposed to be gorgeous. We did go to the Alhambra in Granada, and it is probably the only palace in Europe that I would say, just in sheer beauty, compares with the palaces of Southeast Asia. That really cool circular stadium is the bullfighting ring. It's like a deep, old piece of the culture here in southern Spain and Andalusia. It's really cool. And although bullfighting is kind of like being retired, they still use it and they just don't kill the bull anymore. Malaga also, you can see, has tons of green spaces. It's an incredibly beautiful city with all the blue of the ocean. You get these wide sweeping views all over the place, and then green with parks and just sprinkled throughout the city. Of course, there are beaches. My favorite beach in Malaga is the one you can see there way out in the distance on the left. And it's super interesting. This city is nearly 3,000 years old. It was originally founded by the Phoenicians. And so the name Malaga doesn't come from the Romans or anything after that. It actually comes from way earlier, around 770 BC, when the Phoenicians named it Malaga. This does make it one of the oldest cities in Spain, like about the same age as Athens, super old. And because of that age, you get all of these different touches of different cultures and empires. So I just wanted to show a little bit of this, just so you can see, like, wherever you go in Malaga, you're gonna see tons of green and palm trees. It's such a beautiful city. The location here is perfect for a city because of the deep harbor that it has and access to fresh water from the rivers, of course. But under the Romans, it became an important trading hub. And so there's a Roman theater here right at the foot of the Alcazaba, the palace. And one of the main things the Romans developed here is they made garum. It's like a dried fish that was sent all over the world with their armies, and they could rehydrate it and eat it. So this is one of the main walking streets right in downtown Malaga, and it's so pretty. This is my first time being here at Christmas, and so you can see all the Christmas stuff that's put up above, but also just the architecture and the liveliness. It's an amazing place. This main part of downtown Malaga, of course, was built after the Reconquista in like Renaissance era Spain. And so it's so beautiful. It's like bright colors and that really incredible architecture with shuttered windows, and every place has a balcony, but it's just gorgeous. And this is my first time being here in Christmas, and wow, I'm sad that we will have to leave the city before the lights go on. It looks incredibly beautiful. Wow. So of course, Malaga is a city that just continuously reinvents itself, like from the Phoenicians to the Romans to the ancient Christians on into the Moors, and then the Reconquista when the Spanish came back through. It's like it just continues its evolving identity. So you can see the modern identity in the last 20 years or so is becoming like this hub of international and tourist space. And not just tourists, but also like digital nomads, and it's kind of like the capital in Andalusia of all of that culture. But because of the touches of all of these different empires, you get these really beautiful spaces. This is the main cathedral downtown. At this point, I've seen a lot of Catholic cathedrals, and I would say this one just feels really different in some ways. Actually, like the almost like yellowish or pinkish tint in some of the stones remind me of some of the cathedrals I've seen in Mexico, especially around Morelia. And then it's the way all of the ornate pieces are built into the stone. It's really beautiful. only one of the towers is finished, which is super interesting. Because of that, it's called La Manquita, the one-armed lady. The southern tower remains unfinished, and it seems like, I think, kind of no one knows why. But what does make sense is we're talking like mid-1500s, so like the Spanish Empire is at its height in full swing, sending a bunch of money on expeditions over to the New World. And so probably it seems like the money to finish this cathedral was just diverted elsewhere. It also could be like corruption or shifting political priorities or things like that, and probably is a mixture of a whole bunch of different explanations. I love this little nativity. It's so pretty the way they use like natural materials to build it. And like I was saying, everywhere is covered with green spaces. So just on the side of the cathedral, you have this big park. It's really, really beautiful little park. This spot is really, really cool because obviously you have like this park area right next to it. You can see one of the towers of the cathedral, but all of this ornate stonework around this door is beautiful. And then immediately next to it, you see the touches of the Moorish Empire. So all of this like geometric carving is really, really pretty. It just feels really unique. And then directly across, you can see like this really feels almost like Middle Eastern, and it's because of that Moorish influence. This is the main entrance to the cathedral. We didn't go in because you have to pay, I think it's like 10 euros or something like that, and it just kind of grates on me. So we could pay the 10 euros, but I just refuse to pay that much to enter a church. I understand they have to pay maintenance and whatever, and maybe it's free for locals who are actually going there to worship, I'm not sure. This is all in that park that kind of wraps around the cathedral. Really beautiful little space, just like fountains and pretty greenery. And of course, I mean, this is Christmas time, it's winter. I love the bright colors on the buildings. They're almost like pastelish in some cases, and it just makes everything really stark and stand out. It's really cool in this area that you can see these touches of the Moorish Empire, and it's pretty unique, but part of the reason is that Isabel was one of the main actors in the Reconquista when the Christians came through and took the land back from the Moors. She discovered that she really appreciated and loved a lot of the architecture and like artistic elements of the Moorish Empire. And so Malaga, being in the far south, was one of the last places that was reconquered. When they arrived here, she was very clear to like lay the siege on the city and take it back, but don't damage the architecture. And so that's why the Alcazaba is still like pretty much intact, and you still see a lot of these touches throughout the city. Parks everywhere, so many green spaces and trees sprinkled throughout. I love it. Right here in Malaga, we found one of my favorite winter snacks. I love chestnuts roasted over the open fire. You do find them all over the place, like in Belgrade, where we live right now. Super common. Here in Spain, I haven't seen them anywhere else. So good. So if you come to Malaga, they call them castañas. Look out for them. They're so good. More examples of really cool architecture. I love like the rounded edges of the buildings and how like the different stories of the buildings are at different heights. Just makes it feel really unique. Aquí es una locura. It's crazy inside there, but it's an amazing place for a drink. If you make it to Malaga and you're looking to have a drink of something super local, look for La Antigua Casa de Guardia. It's like the old house of the guard, because this is the way like the guards of the city used to go in and order and drink and all that, and they just have all of the barrels of different wines. It's beautiful and super fun. And of course, if you don't know what you're ordering, just describe the one you want. You know, you want something dry and dark, or you want something sweet or whatever, just tell them, they'll hook you up. So in the top right barrel here, you can see vermouth. It's vermouth. And this is what I would recommend if you're not sure what to get. It's kind of like the most classical drink here in Malaga, and has a super, super interesting story. So of course, like wine came early in the Roman Empire, and then the Moors came through and conquered this area. And of course, being Muslim, the Moors don't drink, but they mastered herbs. And so there was all kinds of like like studies from the centuries that the Moors were here, logging all kinds of different exceptional properties of botany, and they had, of course, like advanced physicians and skilled chemists and distillers and things like that. So they studied all kinds of different things that you can add to drinks for medicinal properties. But when the Moors were here, there still were Christian and Jewish populations, and so wine was still being produced in this entire region. And what they're really known for are sweet wines. And so that's why there's so much variety in this place, and it's really beautiful. It's a fun culture of wine drinking. And if you sit down and have a few, they might write your tab out on the bar as they bring you each one, which is just like super fun. It's like they used to do in ancient times. So we were here on my brother-in-law's birthday, and like me, he loves craft beers. And so he knew of this place called La Fabrica that he took us to go get some craft beers. Really cool spot. Not my favorite craft brewery in the world, but my favorite beer out there was actually the wheat beer. So if you go, that would be my recommendation. It kind of makes sense. The place is owned by Cruz Campo, and so they have a bunch of like Cruz Campo on tap. And then they have some craft beers, but the craft beers just aren't as good as I'm used to in many other places in Europe. So cheers and happy birthday to Jesus. And I thought it was cool to see, like, as we're getting later in the day, this is way more packed with people. It makes total sense in this part of the world. Like, Spain is famous for the siesta, and I don't know if people really have siesta in this time of the year, but certainly not many people were out at midday, and now it is super packed. And if you're not just doing craft beers, but instead you'd like to try the vermouth, here's another place I super recommend, Casa Lola. Casa Lola has killer food, and there's several locations downtown. This is the one we always end up going to. Just super cool spot. I recommend everything seafood in Malaga. It's all really good. And being Jesus' birthday, we wanted to close it out with a little bit of champagne with dinner. We'd originally planned to leave home before dark, but I'm really glad that we had time to hang out and see all the Christmas lights come on. This is amazing. I've now seen Christmas all over Europe, both in the north and the south, and I would say these are some of my favorite lights anywhere. It's really cool, like the panels in the middle of these stars going down the walkway, all different parts of the nativity story. Beautiful, amazing, super lively, fun place. If you can't tell, it is hard for me to convey how much I really love this city. With our one day here, we didn't do a ton of museums and stuff, but Malaga is the birthplace of Pablo Picasso, and they lean hard into this. So there are like 35 museums around the city, and I'm sure they're well worth doing. Que belleza, how beautiful. It is incredible here, Christmas time in Malaga. We've now seen so many places for Christmas. This is one of the prettiest places in Europe. So wonderful for Christmas. Also, just so wonderful. This city is amazing. People plan their trips to Europe and they go to Paris and London and Rome. Sure, like if you have to, yes. You cannot go wrong with the smaller cities in Spain. Come to Malaga, you won't regret it. And speaking of smaller cities, we've been to a whole bunch of little towns down here in Andalusia and in Spain. They're wonderful. The playlist should be on screen, so check it out.